I want to talk about who can practice yoga. Last night I was listening to an interview with a Pilates instructor that was being done by another fitness professional, and the first question that she was asked was, who is Pilates for? And the moment I heard the question, I knew that I wanted to answer the same exact question about yoga. Because for me, yoga is for anybody, meaning no matter what body you come in, you can do yoga and it can be accessible and transformative for you. I think the problem that we're having is that what I call the Instagram generation has sort of co-opted yoga and turned it into a thing of appearances. So oftentimes we're seeing these, gorgeous women with their, long thin legs and their tight yoga pants going upside down doing handstands and posting pictures of that and getting their legs over their head. And I have certainly posted pictures of myself upside down, so I'm not entirely innocent in this matter. But I think we've come to believe that that means that there's only one type of body that is appropriate for yoga, and that if you don't have that one particular type of body, then you don't belong on a yoga mat. And that is simply so not true. When yoga was originated, when we finally have the first sort of written texts of any asanas, which are the physical postures of yoga, the poses, those poses were basically 5 different seated positions. Because the mission of yoga was not to, as we've turned into a form of exercise or to get your legs over your head, but to have your body be able to be strong and open enough to sit for hours in meditation. Because the ultimate goal of yoga was was devotional. It was connecting to something higher, something deeper, connecting to God, if you will, or connecting to your deeper self. And so in that way, of course, yoga is for everyone. I know that for me, I've been blessed to work with through yoga individuals with developmental disabilities doing yoga, and right before this pandemic happened, my favorite class to teach on Saturdays was to a senior community. I taught many individuals, some of them in their 70s, and for me that was such a remarkable and beautiful experience, the way that I saw them show up on their mats and be vulnerable, and the way that we came together to be creative and make yoga accessible to them and work for their bodies and suit their needs and do it in a safe manner. There are so many forms of yoga. There's restorative yoga and yoga nidra, which is like a meditation. There's yin yoga, ashtanga, vinyasa, hatha, kundalini. There are so many forms, and that if you have the right instructor who is knowledgeable enough and patient and present enough that they can work with you to design a program or a practice or a class that really honors your body uniquely and does so safely. The thing about my seniors, who I adore working with, they're a reminder that there are no age limits to yoga. I remember that first week that I taught them, so many of them came up to me at the beginning of class, and before anything happened, we had kind of just laid out our mats. They would come up to me and apologize. So many of them, they would, be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to do everything today." And then they would give me that sort of list of excuses. My body is too big, too old, too tight. Unfortunately, all the things that so many of us have been taught to say or think about ourselves. And of course, my response was for them to listen to their bodies and trust what from within and really move in a way that honored them. And so each week after that, as we came together to practice, we'd begin in sort of a celebration, celebrating their bodies as they are and coming together in community and learning to move in a way that was safe and functional, that allowed them to take these everyday movements into their lives, so off their mat and into the world, to pick up their grandchildren and go on the trips that they wanted to go on and really live their lives in a healthy and vibrant way, which is what we all deserve. And so again, it just shows that there are spaces for all of us, and that we can find ways to make yoga safe and appropriate and approachable for everyone. I should also mention there's chair yoga too, which is another option. I also wanted to bring up someone I don't know, but I've read about, I've read his memoir, Waking, Matthew Sanford. So when he was, I think, 13 years old, he was in a terrible car accident and ended up being paralyzed from the chest down. And so, of course, that altered his life in such a radical way. And I think it understandably took a long time for him to find a new way of living in this new version of his body. But by the time he was 25, he was introduced to yoga. And he would go on to, he's now a renowned yoga instructor and speaker, and has worked to make yoga, the practice, adaptable to people of all types of abilities. So again, yoga, because its real mission was to connect us to God, or to devotional, something devotional to something within ourselves. I think that when we fall for the idea that it's just for people who can, take crazy shapes with their bodies, we're missing the point that it's an inward practice, and that when we show up on our yoga mats, it's not about what anyone looks like beside us, what their practice looks like, the appearance of it, but really just diving within and noticing the ways your muscles move, and get in touch with the tiniest muscles in your body that you didn't know existed, and then just going deeper until it becomes this transformative and sometimes transcendent experience. So I hope that if you feel called to try yoga, that you embrace it, that you reach out and try to find the yoga videos or the instructors or the classes that really honor you, because everyone belongs on a yoga mat, no matter who you are, no matter what you look like, no matter your abilities. Yoga has a space for you. So I'm going to end with a poem of mine. For those of you who do take my yoga classes, you know that I'm constantly reading poetry in classes. So this is from my book, Yoga Heart Songs, and it's about who yoga is for. Is your body a yoga body? The answer is always yes. Connecting to your own body and journeying within doesn't belong only to people of a certain look, size, or ability. No matter who you are or what shapes your body magnificently takes, don't ever doubt that you belong. Come to yoga as you are.